So the deadline for the first sitting of the National Assembly, 14 days after the general election, is fast approaching. So in the May polls, the ANC won the most number of seats in Parliament but did not get an outright majority. This week, the ANC announced that it will seek a government of national unity to advance the interests of the people of South Africa. So what does this mean for the country and other political parties? Already we've heard from the ANC, who it's had discussions with. Let's chat now to Good Party leader Patricia De Lille. The Good Party having won just one seat in Parliament this time around. Ms. De Lille, a very good morning to you. Thanks indeed for your time.
Good morning.
We do appreciate it. Great to see you. I think let's start off here. What do you make of the ANC's position for a government of national unity to be formed, which will, of course, include a number of political parties?
Well, I think, Griselda, thank you for the opportunity first. I think that we need to give the ANC the space to really give us the model of government of national unity. I think also there is now where people compare the government of national unity of 1994 to the one now in 2024. So that's the first one. Let the ANC explain what do they mean by government of national unity, because that needs to be balanced out also with numbers, because to pass legislation and to pass the budget, you will need that 50% plus one. So we must give the ANC that space. Secondly, when we get to Parliament as members of Parliament, we all have a responsibility to put the country first and not just our narrow political interest. So I think the next few days is going to be interesting to see what is going to develop. But for now, we don't have clarities about the structure of this government of national unity. Because we also not only have to look at the structure, we also have to look at the function. And in the function, we must clearly prioritize those unfinished business that we have not finished over the past 30 years. And we must prioritize and put the poor majority central to any government of national unity.
It begs then to ask the question, yes, indeed, there is a lot of, unclarity, if I can, about what this structure will even look like. Had you had things your way, what would you want to see this government of national unity look like? And I must ask, has the ANC or any other political party approached you?
Well, for now, I think for me the principle stands that the party that received the most votes must lead in this instance. The ANC received the most votes nationally. If you take KwaZulu-Natal, the MK party received the most votes there. So that principle must be applied equally, whether it's national or provincial. I have seen and followed the news and many statements have been made by many political parties coming from different angles. As the Good Party, we had said, let us wait and see where this is going, because for us getting into Parliament is to serve and to serve all the people of South Africa. I can only confirm, Griselda, that late last night, I did receive a call from the Secretary General of the ANC to meet as part of their broader consultation with all political parties. And as the Good Party, we will be meeting once we have confirmed the time today.
All right, so you would not be against joining this government of national unity?
We don't know what it's all about. That's why we had agreed last night as the Good Executive, let's go and listen.
Right.
Because for us, what is important, Griselda, is that whatever we're going to put together, whether it is a government of national unity, whether it's going to be a coalition, whether it's going to be like through prominent Professor Chris Landsberg and Ibrahim Fakir, even before this election suggested a government of national unity. It's not clear. But what I am saying again, to me, whatever structure we agree on as South African political parties, the function must be that we cannot live in a country with the inequality, where the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. My love and our concern for good, for the past 3 years, we have been campaigning for a basic income grant for the poor. So whatever structure they put together, the poor must be central to that. Then we will listen, and then we will play our role in making sure that we deal with the issue of poverty, because we are not a poor country. Our country is poorly managed. But for me and for the Good Party, it is we must put our poor people first, and then whatever role we can play, we will be willing to do so.
I guess, Ms. De Lille, what you're saying, if I hear you correctly, is that based on those conditions, you say you're willing to go and listen. The ANC Secretary General has called you last night. You're willing to listen, and based on those discussions, will you decide as the Good Party if you want to be part of the NGU?
Well, that is why we must first understand what the structure of the GNU is going to look like. But we are not putting conditions. I'm saying to you, Christelda, we have been campaigning for the past 3 years for a basic income grant. We've run a campaign to deal with another pandemic in our country, that is gender-based violence. We've reached almost over 12 million women. And so we will be looking in terms of the function of this government of national unity, whether those two things are part of the priorities, besides just growing the economy. The poor can't be punished because the economy is not growing. The poor cannot wait for the economy to grow. So we go into this with an open mind. We will never claim to have all the solutions for all the problems that we face in our country. But for me, it's always putting our country first, and that will be our departure point. But also, we need to see some humbleness. The voters have spoken, and we all must be humble. We all must say that whichever party they voted for, as politicians, we must show some humility and make sure that we listen to them, because they will punish again us in the next election.
I want to talk about your party. Let's shift a bit to your party having won 2 seats in the National Assembly during the 2019 general elections. But you lost 1 seat in the May polls. What do you think this was due to? Is there something that you believe Good could have done better during your campaigning? And what insight, do you think, people didn't believe about, I guess, what it is you did within their campaign to give you that vote of confidence?
First, Griselda, for us is that, yes, we have lost 1 seat, but so did many other parties. The political landscape has just shifted. I think we were not prepared to deal with, I think it's anger that people have expressed, frustrations that government can't get simple things done. We also don't have a homogeneous voter base. People have got different interests. And so what we thought is good, our message was to be directed towards, first of all, to deal with poverty in our country, to deal with gender-based violence, to relook the structure of government. Our manifesto was really a recipe to rebalance society. And even though we feel there is still a need to rebalance our society, this imbalances of 80% very poor and 20% who are rich, it still exists. But it's all about how you message us, how you sold it to the voters.
Yes.
And we're 5 years old now. We started in 2019, where we got 2 seats in Parliament.
Yeah.
But it's not always just about power. It's just not always being. A Parliament provides a platform for you to voice. And so the votes that we got now in this election, I can assure those voters that they will have more voice for their votes in Parliament.
You also warned recently in the Sunday Times, that the voices of South African women are disappointingly silent in the run-up to the May polls, and that basically few women lead political parties. How do you think this can be changed, and why is it that we don't have more women joining this cutthroat space?
When I started out in 2004, I wanted to become the first woman in South Africa to start a political party and to win seats at all 3 spheres of government. I've achieved that. And I continue to build. And as our democracy is maturing, you could see more representativity of women within Parliament. Unfortunately, with this election, the percentage has dropped to 42%. But to me, it's not just about representativity. It's fine, we're doing well as a country with representatives of women. But we need to see more women leading organizations, political organizations. Again, 30 years later, I am still, 30 years later, with the outcome of this election, I am still the only party led by a woman in Parliament out of 18 or 20. So really, we need to do more. Women need to have that self-confidence that, yes, we can do it. And the rules of the game to be in politics, there are no rules for women, there are no rules for men. And therefore you have to play by the rules. And it's tough, Griselda.
I can imagine.
It's very tough. But I have become used to being outnumbered by men over the past 30 years. But I've never been outmuscled. So I will always encourage women to start something, and there have been attempts. Before we had our late sister from the National Freedom Party, who also led a political party. But it's about the only 2 that myself and herself that I can think of. But women mustn't give up.
All right, it's great to hear from you, certainly. But look, we don't know, just finally, Ms. De Lille, we don't know what shape or form the next couple of days will inform us about of this, a government of national unity. What is going to happen in the country? We also wait to see. But would you be available to serve?
Griselda, I have served my country in many capacities. Because for me, it's about being a servant leader. I have been a mayor of a major city for 8 years. I've been an MEC for social development. I've now been the Minister of Tourism currently. And when I'm asked and give a task, to serve, I will always, my departure is that we are there to serve. And if I'm asked, are you prepared to serve the people of South Africa in this capacity? I will certainly take it to my political party, but for me, it's all about service, Griselda.
Ms. De Lille, great to chat to you. Thank you very much
indeed. Thank you very much, and thank you for your time.
All the best. Thank you very much indeed. The good party leader, Patricia De Lille, talking to us about the proposal of this government of national unity and, of course, Parliament, her party having lost 1 seat. It had 2, but lost 1 seat following the elections that took place last month. And she's also confirming that the ANC Secretary General has contacted her. In fact, she says contacted her last night to have a chat about this proposal that has been on the table. She says she's willing to listen, and of course, based on that, she'll decide what, of course, the way forward would be for her party. But confirming to us there that the ANC Secretary General has contacted her for some talks on this proposal of a government of national unity. Thank you very much indeed to Patricia De Lille for joining us on the program.